Fastamai, good afternoon. Welcome to the programme, which today, Christy, is out and about.
Yes, we've been allowed out of the station. I'm surprised they've let us, to be fair, especially considering we're wearing extraordinarily festive jumpers.
And I should say, you bought yours especially for this occasion. It is lovely. Can you describe it for us?
It's a super cool Father Christmas who's wearing shades, and I can't see the top. Does it say ho ho ho? I'm not quite used
I think it
to
just says one ho, to be honest.
Yeah. And I got it, bizarre enough, got it from ShopRite. There you go.
Oh.
I know, but I love it. It's a kid's jumper.
I've borrowed one from Ben Hartley's stash. He has a collection of Christmas jumpers by his desk, ready to go at a moment's notice.
He's on social media for us now, so you can't quite see him because he's the one that's holding the camera. But if you're on Facebook Live, at some point today, we will try and turn the camera on Ben so that you can see his lovely penguin sweater.
Well, it is lovely to have you here with us. We are down at the Villa Marina Arcade, the first of our festive outings over the next few weeks, and it is also home to the Isle of Man Wurlitzer. They're going to have a number of concerts on the next few Wednesdays, so you'll be able to come down and hear this piece of musical history in action. Margaret Cubbon was the first person to play it on the island. We are delighted that she's going to play on it for us this afternoon. We're going to be talking a little bit more to her in a moment.
We are, and actually if you'd like to see a little clip of what the Wurlitzer sounds like, we have posted a clip on our Instagram, on Manx Radio Instagram, and if you go over there, we've said name that tune because it's the sort of piece of music you wouldn't necessarily expect to hear played on the Wurlitzer, and it's beautiful. So if you want to go and have a little lunchtime competition with your pals in the office, you can go and join in on that one on Instagram.
There is a sort of a musical theme to today's programme. We also have the new chair of the Guild with us, Eric Quirk, and we'll be talking to him a little bit later. And I don't know, I might be mistaken, but I think I saw an elf coming in here.
Definitely. I have spotted one of Santa's little elves running about in the arcade, causing all kinds of mischief. So I'm hoping we'll be able to catch the little elf before the end of the programme and have a word.
Let's hope so. But also another musical treat with us this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm delighted to say we're joined by members of the Manx Voices Choir, who are going to be very busy over the next few weeks because they're part of the Winterfest concert on Friday and also have their own Christmas concert coming up too. We've got some of the island's best voices right here in the Villa Marina Arcade, and they're going to start the show by singing something festive for us now.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child.
I want them to start the show every day.
Oh, I do too. Can you do that, ladies? Can you just be our own personal choir? There's a lot more of them as well, so we might need a bigger boat.
Absolutely beautiful. We're going to be talking more to them later. The musical director is Angela Stewart, and Angela actually got the memo about the Christmas jumper. Well done.
We've
Beautiful.
got Christmas jumpers.
Oh, I didn't see the penguin one. Oh, right,
yeah,
yes.
We've got penguins, and we've got a very festive jumper in the middle there as well. Sparkles too.
Sparkles are very Christmassy. We are down here at the Villa Marina Arcade, and as I say, for the next 3 Wednesdays, you will be able to come down here and hear a piece of musical history. Now, Peter Jordan is from the Friends of the Isle of Man Wurlitzer, and Peter, how do you describe this musical instrument, first of all?
Well, I mean, it's very similar to a classical organ that you might find in the church or a concert hall, but they were originally designed for accompanying silent films. And of course, you can imagine if you're accompanying a film, you might see horses galloping across the screen, so you need special sound effects, and that's one of the differences between a theatre organ and what people would consider to be a classical organ. You've got horses' hooves, you've got whistles, you've got fire gongs, all kinds of special effects to allow them to be used effectively to accompany a film.
I'm sorry, fire gongs?
Yes.
What is a fire gong, Peter?
Well, I mean, what you've got to remember, of course, is this particular instrument here, this Wurlitzer, is not English. It came from America, So of course some of the effects that are on this would be specific to American films. You've got the typical chime whistle, for example, that big American steam locomotives had that you didn't hear so much over in Britain.
So it was built in America. How did we come to have it over here then?
Well, of course, in the heyday of the cinema in the 1920s and the 1930s, a lot of them were being imported over into the UK from America. This particular instrument was originally intended for, it was built in America in 1929. It was shipped over, but they decided that actually it was going to be a little bit too small for the cinema in London, so it actually ended up being installed in a cinema in Leicester. But of course, with changing tastes, changing times, the cinema in the late 1950s, early 60s was going rather out of fashion, and so a lot of these organs found themselves redundant. And this particular one, fortunately, rather than going to the scrap heap, as quite a lot of them did, was bought by a councillor in the West Midlands, and he actually installed it in his house as a private organ. But eventually it came up for sale, and the Isle of Man government were looking for new attractions for Summerland after it was rebuilt, and so they bought it, shipped it across to Summerland, which of course, as we all know, eventually closed down. It was taken out of Summerland, but when the arcade here was being refurbished some years ago, it was decided that this would be an ideal location for it. So a lot of money was spent on restoring the organ, making the chambers that you can see where the pipes are, and we now have this beautiful instrument for people to come and enjoy.
And I understand there was a little bit of debate about where it was going to go after it left Summerland, surely because of the size of it.
That's right. I mean, there was originally an intention that it might go into the Royal Hall in the Villa Marina. There was a possibility that it would go into the Gaiety Theatre next door, but neither venue was felt to be, exactly right for it. But as I say, when the shops were stripped out of here and this was turned into a performing space, fortunately the person who led the restoration of this was a chap called Len Rawle, who's been a theatre organist for a long time, and he realised that actually the acoustics in here in the arcade would be absolutely ideal for it, and so he led the project, and we've got this beautiful instrument today.
And it really is beautiful. And if you go to our Facebook, Ben's just been taking some video of all the different elements of the organ, because there's the piece that you see, which Margaret's going to play for us in a little bit, but there's all the sort of added elements with the pipes, and then there's is it the glockenspiel or the xylophone?
Well, we've actually got both. That's the xylophone that you can see through the window there. The xylophone, the glockenspiel is a little bit further into the chambers. But if you look across to the left, you can see there's a big motor horn there. There's a snare drum. We have a bass drum, a triangle, all sorts of things that these organs you can't on a straight classical organ. So one of the strengths of the theatre organ is you can play classical music on it if you want to. You can play it as a classical organ. But it's very versatile because of all these extra effects and extra sounds that you can get out of it.
You mentioned pipes, Christy. 754 pipes, and it weighs 10 tonnes. Yeah, just got that from the top of my head. Peter, can you play it?
I can't, unfortunately. No, I wish when I was at school back in the 60s, music was one of those things that you did as an option, and unfortunately I didn't opt for it.
Oh, well, what you needed was a teacher. We have one of those. Margaret Cubbon, hello.
Hello, Beth.
You taught yourself to play this. Tell me how that came about.
Well, a friend of mine, unfortunately, has died since. He kept saying to me when this was in Summerland, he said, come over and have a go on it. And I didn't. I was busy working, playing in a hotel at the time, and I thought, I don't want to play in Wurlitzer. But in the end, when it was put in here, I thought to myself one day in 2012, I thought I might just go to come down and try and see what to think of it. And when I first had a go on it, I thought, I'll never master this. But I persevered, and I used to come down Tuesday and Thursday afternoons for 2 hours and practice it for a whole year before I would play in front. I thought I was good enough to play in front of an audience, and I must thank very much, which I did at the time, and the Gaiety staff were wonderful to bring this instrument out and then put it away again each Tuesday and Thursday for a whole 12 months for me.
We've been hearing you just a little bit before the programme started, and we are very, very glad that you decided to take the plunge and do this. And Margaret, many people will know you as a teacher here on the island. You've taught many people the piano.
Yes, I taught from when I was 18 until I was 30, and I passed all my Royal Schools of Piano examinations. I got a lot of distinctions, and I should have gone to London to the Royal Academy of Music, but when I was 18 and I was an only child, I didn't want to leave the Isle of Man. I was too nervous to start in London, so I put an advert in the local paper, and I thought, I'm going to teach children over here, and I did that from when I was 18 years old until I was 30, when these hammered organs became popular in the hotels.
And as you say, then at the age of 30 you decided to do the playing in the
That's
hotels.
right.
I mean, that was a different scene, I guess, here in the Isle of Man then.
Yes, yes. It was busy with visitors, packed with visitors, and of course there was no karaoke in them days. I started playing, I worked in the Crescent Hotel for Jack Quirk and his wife for 5 years, and I had to get volunteer singers up out of the audience, and there were no karaoke. So I did that for a long number of years, and of course now it's all karaoke, things have changed. But
so looking at the Wurlitzer then, if you can play the piano, would you be able to play this?
I'm sure you could if you had patience. I'm sure you could easily pick it up. But I think with having played an electric organ, it is an advantage to help you more so. But I wouldn't say no, nobody could not play it.
Just looking at some of the keys, do you call those keys, those ones above here,
Tabs,
these ones?
yes,
These are
the
tabs.
tabs, yes.
Horse hooves, surf and
Yes,
triangle,
yes.
what do these do?
You've got to hear it. So, a lot of them don't.
You can just hear it in the background.
I think there's a train here.
A train?
Train, I think. Oh no, down there.
Oh, a train whistle there. Can you hear that? Oh my goodness.
That's it.
So we're talking about the festive concerts, and they're starting tomorrow. There's going to be one tomorrow, the next Wednesday, and the Wednesday following
That's
that.
right.
So how do they work?
We play for charity, and I must say there's 2 other lady organists who unfortunately can't be here with me today. Sarah Goldsmith, she's on holiday, she's in Rome at the moment, and Jill Harvey, who also plays along, the 3 of us ladies, and Jill is not well. But we do charity concerts, and in the last 5 years, apart from Sarah, Jill, Peter Norris also plays, and a guy called Keith Simpson, he plays, and myself, that's the 5 of us. In the last 5 years, during the charity concerts that we do, we've raised £2,000. And that's quite good when you think we only play for an hour, from 1 o'clock till 2, and then the public are very generous. Very generous indeed.
We always hear that, and these concerts are free of charge, so you can just come down at 1 o'clock tomorrow. What is your chosen charity this year, Margaret?
The Manx Stroke Foundation.
And why did you choose that?
Well, I often think to myself now, I'm getting quite old now, I wouldn't like to have a stroke. I wouldn't like to be able to not use my left arm or right arm and play. But I think it's a terrible thing to adjust to, having a stroke. I know a lot of people don't have serious strokes, they may just have a light one and they get over it. But people who really have the serious ones, I think it's a good cause, Manx Stroke Foundation.
It certainly is. And Margaret, thank you so much for being down here today. We're going to ask you to play something now.
Yes.
Are you going to tell us what it is?
Yes, I'm going to play a tune called That's Entertainment.
Wonderful. Margaret, take it away. Margaret Cubbon playing that entertainment on the mighty Wurlitzer organ.
Not to want
Oh,
to dance
it's
on
just
that
incredible,
frame.
and
It's
it fills the
fantastic.
space in here just beautifully. If you want to hear the concerts, we're going to keep reminding you, but they do start at 1 o'clock for the next 3 Wednesdays, and you just come in and then give a donation to the chosen charity. We're going to be finding out if there is an elf in the building in just a moment.